Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Hope you've had a good day or evening. It's good to see you all again. Today we are taking a look at a new person. I know, shocking, but we're going to continue with our Xbox stuff. Personally, I wouldn't call him an Xbox fanboy. I don't know anything about him. But until we watch this video, then we will find out. Together. But let's not forget, he could also be taking the piss. So who are we talking about? Canadian gamer. So let's take a look at the video in question. Arcane Studios and Bethesda were absolutely right to release Redfall with a capped 30 FPS. Hear me out, boys. He could be a troll, but who knows? Let's go find out.
Oh hey, I didn't see you come in there. Don't you knock?
No, home invasions are fun for the whole family. But hear me out, something that would be really cool would be if, you know like how most jobs just, bring their kid to work day type shit? What if we did that with home invasions or just robberies in general? I think that would be pretty cool.
How's it going, guys? Cameron here as Canadian Gamer. Coming at you with another video. This video has been brought to you by...
I don't even think so. You're not going to be doing that here right now. We're skipping ahead.
Released game Redfall, which was, I believe, developed by Arcane Studios and published by Bethesda, coming out on May 2nd. Now, there's been a bit of a backlash in the gaming community because recently, just a few days ago, Arcane and Bethesda announced that Redfall will be releasing at a capped 30 FPS. Yes, you heard that here.
Yeah, that honestly isn't interesting at all. Personally, when I found out it was always online, now that it's 30 FPS and some gameplay designs that they took inspiration from Far Cry, yeah, no. It really does not appeal to me.
30 frames per second. And there's been a bit of a backlash in the gaming community. So I wanted to just sort of rant about this a little bit. So, what's the big deal? A game being released at 30 FPS. Back in the day,
See, the problem is people are just pissed off at the fact that this entire generation, we have been told by Xbox and PlayStation, this is the end of 30 frames. We're going to get 120 to 60 constantly for every release that we push out. And to see them not do that from both Xbox and Sony, it's pretty disappointing, as we have now just kind of been lied to about the console performance.
Back in like the PS3 days, Xbox 360 days, you were lucky if a game ran at 30 FPS. Most of those games on those particular consoles, the frame rate absolutely dogged. It was like 20, 22.
See, that's not the problem that people have. Like I just said, everything before, as I won't repeat myself. The problem is now you're telling us that we can now have stuff at 60 to 120, but then you refuse to do it for some of your newer releases, especially a first-party release like Redfall. So now the community feels cheated because they're not getting what they paid for, what they advertised on the box. And I'm going to have to disagree with you on your next thing that I know you're going to bring up is the other consoles and other generations of consoles. The problem is, those consoles were not advertised towards a higher frame rate. They were more than likely done for a higher resolution and graphical quality. The problem here is that, like I've said multiple times now, these consoles are built up off the fact that they will perform better.
23, 24, 25. Not always, but like some games have some serious frame rate pacing issues, especially on the PS3. However, if you can recall back to those days, back to those times, you guys weren't complaining about that whatsoever. Barely.
I'm going to try not to repeat myself again. Most people back then did not know what a frame rate is or how it worked. All we knew was that games looked good and that every time a frame drop happened, it contributed to lag. And I still hear people do that to this day in single player games. Mainly what I'm trying to get at is that back then, during the 360 and PlayStation 3 era, we were not as informed as we are now about how games work and what contributes to everything in systems and how stuff should work, especially in hardware. The most intellectual conversations we ever had back then for especially COD lobbies was that my dad works for Microsoft and I'm a hacker. So I can assure you, most of us clearly knew what a frame rate was.
You guys were not complaining about it. You guys didn't complain about the frames per second on PS2. You didn't complain about...
Like I said, most of us didn't know what it is. If you were to bring it up to me, especially in the middle of a COD lobby, I'd think you're a developer, because that's how little we knew about game development at that time. And even then, most people didn't have access to the internet the same way that we do now. So actually educating ourselves and finding people that could educate us on how development actually is was pretty hard. Or even just explaining these concepts to us would be pretty hard, because we had no clue of what it is like we do now.
About it on the original Xbox, you didn't complain about it on the Dreamcast. You just keep going back and back and back and back and back. Now we have these modern consoles, which have an option in most games for performance mode where you can run it at 60 FPS. And usually you've got a quality mode.
See, I'll just bring this up now. Actually experiencing like a higher frame rate, I honestly can never go back to 30. I only play on PC now, because there's no need for me to touch my console. Once Warframe and For Honor go cross-progression, I will never go back to my console. Which, not like For Honor will ever get cross-progression, those fuckers hate us. Warframe though, that will happen in a couple of months' time.
Which will run the game at 30 FPS, however, you're getting 4K textures, you might be getting some ray tracing effects, etc, etc, etc. So you gamers have been absolutely spoiled, because what happens is when you play a lot of these games, and I've talked about it a bit on this channel, when you're playing a game at 30 FPS and then you flip on performance mode and you see how much smoother it is at 60 FPS, in my eyes, I find it hard to go back to 30 FPS.
See? You just explained the problem.
I find it really hard to do that. Even if the graphical fidelity has been somewhat limited on performance mode, I'll take performance mode any day of the week.
So why aren't you criticizing them while they have it at only 30 for the time being?
So the issue with that is, if you didn't have the option for performance mode, it may not be as apparent. You got to remember, a lot of us played these older games on the Xbox One, PS4, again, played a lot of these games on the Xbox 360 at 30 FPS, and we didn't even think about it.
I wonder why. I really do wonder why we never thought about it. Not like we didn't know what the fuck it was.
Because your eyes are trained to adjust to the 30 FPS. It's only once you jump from 30 FPS to 60 in real time and jump back to 30 that you see how jarring it is. So, a lot of the gamers out there, now this is again very niche. This isn't the rest of the gamers out there in the world that don't watch YouTube. This is just a small group of YouTubers and social media influencers and people in the retro community that are making a big deal about this, when it's actually much ado about nothing.
Wait, so you're saying it's a small minority of people that are getting pissed that there's no 60 frames? I don't know, there seems like a lot of Xbox fanboys that were pretty upset. Like, I've never actually seen Xbox fanboys fucking insult Microsoft. That's impressive. Actually give them shit and criticism for what they're doing? A fanboy would never do that. No PlayStation fanboy could ever do that. And it wasn't just the fanboys. Everyone seemed pretty upset at the fact that this is only going to be 30 frames. But let's not forget the Xbox fanboys that were trying to defend this decision. They were interesting.
If anything, Arcane Studios should be commended for deciding to release this game at a capped 30 FPS.
This is the equivalent of getting a participation medal. Don't commend them, fucking scold them for what they did. Don't make their bad habits even worse.
You know, if they need a little bit more time to make sure that this game runs appropriately at 60 FPS, so be it. They've already announced that the game will run at 60 FPS.
See, that's all fine and dandy that they announced it, but they should be delaying it until it's finished so then it can run at 60 FPS on launch. That is what they should be doing. End of story.
At some point in the near future. Big freaking deal. I don't know why people are crying about this. A lot of you guys really need to go outside and touch grass, literally.
Fuck. I feel like I'm just being trolled right now. I swear this video is a fucking troll. Oh well, at least I'm getting content out of it. See, the problem with this, right, is that you need to keep in mind that they keep telling us that every game should be at 60 FPS. And like I've said earlier, as I'm going to repeat myself again, they promoted and said constantly that this will be at 60 FPS. That is what we're looking for. That is why people are pissed, and will continue to be pissed if this continues to happen. And I thought I might as well just share this with you. A little funny prank, if you will. The trailers for Redfall were running at 60 FPS. Color me fucking surprised.
You need to walk outside, go outside, spend the day outside, and stop spending so much time on social media. It's ridiculous. A lot of you guys that are complaining about this are you know, the same people that are probably not even interested in this game. Now, the game looks incredible.
Well, fuck. Guess that disqualifies me.
You know, it may even be a day one purchase for me. I don't know yet. It looks really good. And again, I've never had a problem playing a game at 30 FPS. A lot of the first-person shooters back in the day were capped at 30 FPS, okay? It doesn't mean the game's unplayable. Oh, God, you guys, it's just like you're out to lunch. Seriously, you're out to lunch.
Fine, I'll repeat myself one more time. So, the marketing for PlayStation and Xbox said that the consoles would run at a minimum for each first-party title 60 FPS. Problem? No, because now that they're releasing Redfall at 30 on day one, while also showing gameplay trailers that showed it running at 60, that's pretty fucking annoying. And can you see why people are pissed? Please don't make me repeat myself again. It's right there in front of you, and I've said it multiple times.
It's funny. We have all this stuff going on in the world. You know, the economy's gone to shit. There's a war going on. There's people homeless, starving in the streets. There's a lot of people out there that have real world situations going on, okay? Whereas if you told them about your little problem about...
How the fuck is this even necessary to the argument at hand? Why is this even being brought up? I mean, when you think about it, they've always kind of been problems. War, homeless people in general, they all piss me off. Including a certain group of people referred to as bogans. They piss me off the most.
Redfall running at 30 FPS. Okay, if that was only their only problem that they had to deal with, they would be taking that in a heartbeat over what they're dealing with. But you guys that are living with your first world problems, and
I didn't even know false advertising was like a first world problem, you know? Not like everywhere around the world that happens no matter where you're from, on any level. I mean, if it's a blatant scam, yeah, that just happens anyway. But false advertising, that's clearly a first world problem.
You're sitting there crying about a game that you're probably not even interested in playing.
Yep, that's me.
Because the game's capped at 30 FPS and you're jumping on a social media bandwagon. Oh, that Arcane Studios, how dare they not give me my 60 FPS?
What the fuck? It's a bandwagon now? Yeah, we're winning.
You guys just need to pump the brakes just a little bit, okay? Is the game unplayable at 30 FPS? No.
Yes, it is.
Dreamcast guy acts like it's a slideshow at 30 FPS. Okay, sure, Dreamcast guy. Sure.
It wouldn't be a Dreamcast guy video if he didn't keep that same energy for PlayStation. I mean, he has criticized PlayStation in the past, especially the Last of Us part. That was an absolute W on his part. But yeah, he does have a bit of a double standard towards Xbox and PlayStation as a whole. He will always treat PlayStation as this better platform than Xbox, but also, I won't give him shit. I do have some respect for him. He's more reasonable than any other PlayStation fanboy out there.
No, the game will be serviceable at 30 FPS. And if you're not happy with 30 FPS, hey, you can wait until the 60 FPS patch is released, or you can play it on PC.
G2A and CD keys, here I come for a dirt cheap copy of Redfall.
It's not really a big deal. The Xbox ecosystem... Xbox is not just the console anymore, okay? Xbox, the brand, is the console and the PC.
Let's not forget the mobile market when they finish that acquisition, and hopefully, I think, a streaming service for Game Pass after they fix out all the problems with that.
So if you want to play it at 60 FPS, go play it on the PC, okay? Otherwise, wait a couple of weeks and the patch will be released. You guys are crying about nothing.
I hope you lose the 1v1 to a didgeridoo.
The game is going to run buttery smooth at 30 FPS, okay? That's the key thing. They want to get the game out the door, make sure that it's running appropriately. Okay?
I don't think 30 FPS is buttery smooth. I don't know about that. I hope you keep this same energy for when Starfield releases, because I can guarantee, without a doubt, that will not run perfectly. And since this is being published and not actually developed by Bethesda, maybe this game from Arcane can run reasonable. I won't say no, it won't be bad, but you never know. Like father, like son.
Okay. They've already delayed this game once or twice before, okay? Arcane can't delay this game again.
Yes, they can. Don't lie to yourself. You know full well they can.
Okay? You guys don't seem to understand. There's a lot of shareholders at play, people that own stocks in the company. They're expecting a solid Q2 result, okay? And they can't afford to delay this game. If the game is ready to rock at 30 FPS, okay, and everything else...
Damn, I was kind of hoping I could use my knowledge of development at some point in this video. Well, I guess not. I mean, you could pull a point out of that saying that they need to release it in Q2 for investors, but I guess they have their eye on Starfield more than anything, because that is what is so-called the moneymaker for Xbox this year.
Is ready to go. We'll release the game at 30 FPS on the Xbox, and then at a later date drop the 60 FPS mode, okay? There's no point releasing the game at 30 FPS and 60 FPS if there's issues with the 60 FPS mode in particular.
If there's a problem with running at 60 FPS, I'm sure that's a game engine problem more than anything. Or it could just be down to lack of bothering to properly optimize the game.
Because that's just going to draw even more negativity. But you guys don't seem to want to look at it like that. You guys just want to, just for the sake of clicks, you want to go out there and complain and cry about how it's not running at 60 FPS.
I mean, my biggest problem for when it was announced was it just not looking fun or interesting at all. It looks so fucking bland to the point where, yeah, I'd just fall asleep playing it. That's how I feel about it.
Guys, think about it. Think about it from a 360-degree perspective, okay? The game is ready to rock at 30 FPS. Just let Arcane release the game like that, okay?
Yes, let them take the Ubisoft approach of, let's release it now, finish the game later. That's clearly what we want in the industry. More of that. Clearly. That's what I want. Not like I just want to finish game on launch. Again, maybe. Maybe I asked too much for the good days of gaming.
And if you don't want to enjoy the game, don't play it. If it's on Game Pass, you've got an option.
But I have to spend $15 for Game Pass again? Oh, fine. There's nothing even interesting on there right now. At least not that interesting to me.
Again, you can go on PC and play it. Or you can wait a couple of weeks or a couple of months, however long it takes for the patch to be released for 60 FPS. But again, I just want to stress, when you hear these...
See, if the patch is only a couple weeks away, right? Why can't they just delay the game for those couple of weeks? It's that simple. A couple weeks isn't that long.
People on social media complaining about Redfall, and again, the whole social media thing these days, it's all about a rain cloud, okay? It's just a wet blanket of negativity. Nobody says anything positive anymore. It's always negativity.
I mean, the only positivity I found was looking at Unreal Engine. That shit's fun to fuck around with. But for the three big companies, nah, nothing really interesting with them goes on.
Okay? Negativity sells. So when you see somebody bitching and moaning and crying about Redfall, just remember it's just a small niche group of people on Twitter and YouTube that are complaining about this, okay? The rest of the world doesn't give two fucks about what these people are saying. So, yeah, that's it. I'm going to cut it off there. Redfall looks incredible.
I guess you heard it there, boys. Redfall is incredible. And we are 100% not going to buy it on launch or at all, because to me, it does not interest me. So with that being said, we have now made it to the end of the video. I would really appreciate it, as your favorite Australian content creator, that you join my Discord, leave a like and subscribe. See you all later.